If you've ever had someone dump their work on you because they assume you won't fight back, hit that like button. And if you've ever dreamed of the perfect, clean corporate revenge, subscribe because today's story is exactly that. I live about 20 minutes away from work. It's a smooth drive most days, open roads, quiet mornings, the kind of commute where you can drink your coffee, listen to music, and briefly forget you're part of a soul-crushing industry where some men genuinely believe they invented. Oxygen. The alternative is an hour-long public transport nightmare. 2 transfers, an overcrowded bus, and a train that smells like wet socks. And with my shifts changing between midnight, 8 a.m., and 4 p.m., driving is the only thing keeping me sane. Now enter my senior. Let's call him Dennis because he has big, condescending middle manager and a sitcom energy. Dennis also drives to work. But unlike me, he only ever works 8 a.m. shifts. He has structure, predictability. He has time to iron his shirt and rehearse his speech about taking initiative. And that becomes important. We had an upcoming supplier visit an hour from our office. Normally, Dennis would handle the coordination because, well, that's his job. But this time, he left everything to me. Emails, scheduling, the agenda, documentation. If it was a task, it magically became a great learning opportunity for me. By the week of the visit, I had done 95% of the work. He had done 5. And by 5, I mean he once asked, "Do we need water bottles?" When all that was left was deciding who would drive to the supplier, Dennis suddenly became very slippery. He didn't ask me directly, of course. That would require honesty or basic respect. Instead, he made comments. "Man, I hate driving long distances. Have you ever been to that area? You seem like you'd know the way. My car's been acting weird. Probably shouldn't push it. I wonder how we're getting there." Every time, I just smile politely because I'm a woman in a male-dominated industry. And we all know how that goes and say something like, not sure. Maybe we'll hear the plan soon. I'm sure you'll figure something out. Spoiler, he didn't figure anything out. One afternoon, I overheard him talking to our manager. Very animated. Very dramatic. "We still don't have a plan," he complained. "But don't worry, I'll figure something out." That sentence stuck to me like a burr under my skin. I waited. 1 day, 2 days. 3 days. All I got were more hints. More nudges. More attempts to coax me into volunteering my car just like he coaxed me into doing the rest of his work, and something in me snapped. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Quietly. The kind of snap where you don't yell. You just make a decision. I was done a week before the visit. I left my car at home. Yep, I sacrificed my beloved 20-minute drive. I woke up an hour early. I squeezed onto crowded buses. I stood shoulder to shoulder with strangers who smelled like regret, but I didn't care. Was fueled by pure spite, the most renewable energy source on the planet, and honestly, I kind of enjoyed the commute. It let me catch up on podcasts and imagine the moment Dennis realized he was out of victims. After 3 days of this, our manager noticed. He sees me stepping off the bus and asks, "Where's your car?" Without missing a beat, I had rehearsed this. I said, "Oh, my brother's in town. He and his girlfriend are sightseeing, so I lent it to them for the week." He nodded, accepted it, and walked off. But that lie? That lie was the fuse. That same day, I drafted an email to both my manager and Dennis. "Hi. It looks like our transport plans fell through. Could the supplier advise on any accessible ways to reach their location, such as shuttles or public transport?" The email was polite, professional, completely reasonable, but the implication? Nuclear, because Dennis had told our manager he'd figure something out. And he absolutely hadn't. My manager called Dennis into his office. I wasn't inside, but I didn't need to be. The walls were thin and the anger was loud. "Is this your idea of figuring something out? You left everything to her. It's shameful behavior. You're the senior, act like it." I sat at my desk, pretending to work, listening to the verbal beatdown of the century. A small smile tugged at my lips. Not a big one. Just enough. The kind of smile you get when someone finally sees the truth you've been choking on. So guess who had to drive us to the supplier? Dennis. Oh, he was pissed. He tried to hide it behind fake professionalism, but his jaw was clenched so tight he looked like he was chewing gravel. The drive there was silent. The drive back was even quieter. Every mile was delicious. Every turn was justice. Every traffic light was karma tapping him on the shoulder, and I sat there in the passenger seat, sipping my coffee like it was victory champagne. The next day after the visit, my imaginary brother went home, and I rolled up to the office in my car like nothing had happened. My manager saw it, just nodded, didn't ask a single thing. But Dennis? He stared at my car like it had betrayed him personally. That was the moment he realized he'd been outmaneuvered by the junior. He underestimated. I wish I could tell you Dennis apologized, or that he suddenly became a decent human being. But toxic men rarely do either. What he did do was stop dumping his work on me. For months, he coordinated his own tasks. He stopped trying to guilt me into driving. He even triple-checked things before involving the manager, because now he knew I wasn't the pushover he thought I was. Quiet does not mean weak. Polite does not mean compliant. And junior does not mean your personal assistant. Watching him get chewed out by our manager because of my little disappearing car trick? That was the sweetest revenge I've had in years. Sometimes justice doesn't come from shouting or confrontation. Sometimes it comes from strategy, from patience, from letting someone dig their own grave and then handing them the shovel. In toxic workplaces, the smallest wins feel huge. And this one carried me for months. If this story gave you life, hit that like button. Tell me in the comments, what's the pettiest workplace revenge you've ever pulled off? And if you want more stories where karma shows up right on time, subscribe because I've got plenty more coming.